Hi everyone, I'm Saraswati. Welcome to Yin Yoga. This is a section for beginners that is very specifically about the low back. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Also, you can check out my website, saraswatihewitt.com. You can find me on social media, and you can also check to see any regular classes, events, and workshops that I have going on. What I want you to do today, I want you to be sure to have a strap or a piece of fabric and also a pillow or a blanket. And I want us to note as we start that this section can be challenging, it can be intense. All of our sections are meant to be practiced at your own pace. And please remember that I'm not a doctor. We might, need to listen to our own body, especially if we have injury or surgery. Just be sure to go slow. All right, so we're gonna begin today. I'm gonna recommend that we grab a pillow or a blanket so that we're seated in a way that the knee would be slightly below the hip. And so we might come to this space and the knees are really high. We might want to stack a couple of pillows up so that we can find that space within the pelvis. Yeah, so we've got those knees just a little bit lower. Good. And we're lengthening all the way up, out through the crown of the head. And we begin just by gently scanning the body, and you could have your eyes open or closed. And what you're doing is your awareness is scanning the body, and we're noticing, do we have any soreness? Is there any kind of tension that's showing up in a specific area? I also have you always check in with how has your digestive realm been? And of course, how have we been sleeping? In our practices, we talk a lot about that triangle connection between mental health, gut digestive, and sleep. So we're always noting all of these different aspects. Now we're going to bring the hands gently to the heart. We start by setting our intentions. We dedicate our practice, and always we remember that all the things that we say, all the things that we do, all the energetic arrows that we shoot, they matter and they have big impact inside of us and all around us. Now you're going to gently release the hands slow. We'll open the eyes if they're closed. Good. We're going to start our practice today in a child's pose variation. And so move any of your props away. And what we're going to do is either with the knees together or the knees apart, we're going to find a child's pose variation. Now remember that if we have the knees together and we hinge forward, if we feel a kind of like pinching in that front hip area, that might be the body's way of saying that that doesn't work. It might be then better to have the knees wider and then to come forward. And the arms can be forward or back in either variation. So yeah, you can test that. Knees can be together or apart, hands can be forward or back. And we're going to do 3 minutes there. In our yin pieces, we're going to be doing between 3 and 5 minutes today. And just go slow. Just find that very first stretch. Good. Yeah, very, very gentle. We start to go yin side. Try to keep the face soft. Right away, I want you to gently notice, where do we feel the most sensation? We might feel a lot of sensation everywhere. We might feel it in the back, in the low back. Maybe we feel a lot of stretch in our arms or in the mid-back. We may feel a great deal of stretch on the top of the feet.
And just keep letting go. Just keeping the face very, very soft. And yeah, as much as we have the stretch happening in the back, this is also really amazing for digestion. So we're massaging our intestines and our liver and our gallbladder. Yoga is all about using the body to heal the body. Just keep breathing. Yeah, just keep the face soft. Relaxing the muscles in the forehead. Keep breathing.
Okay, now very gentle. You're gonna release there, so that's 3 minutes. Yeah, and just go really slow. It can be intense, and I want you to take anything at all that you want in between. So we might do like cat cow or like down dog. If you want to do like cat cow, you could have the wrist underneath the shoulder, maybe like the knees under the hip, and we're really just moving really slow. Like you could lift the hip and the head, and then you can tuck the chin and tuck the tail. So just back and forth. Go gentle, and remember, we might feel clicking, popping movement. Even if we exercise, even if we've done yoga for a long time, if we haven't done yin, then we've been doing what we consider a yang practice. So yin can be intense, and when it's new, what we're doing is we're moving beyond just working in the muscle, and we're going into those deeper tissues. So go slow, because it can be really intense. Okay, now the first piece we're gonna do is going to be targeting maybe the hamstrings, so those large muscles in the back of the leg. But we also might feel this throughout the back, and specifically in that low back, what we call the QL area. With yin yoga, it's all about what it feels like, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. So some of you might grab your strap, come to a seated space, and so you could take this right leg forward, and you might have this left foot into midline, so we could be, one hand on either side of the leg. It could be a very gentle stretch, and you can round the back in yin. In some of our styles we don't, but you actually can round the back in yin. So it could be just like tiny movement. Some of you will do a little deeper stretch. Some of you might grab that strap and even like give it a little bit of a pull. Also note that this one has a skeletal variation component. So what that means is that with the left foot in going forward, it actually might not work as well for some of you as doing the left knee bent. So taking that left foot back, almost more like this kind of like hurdle style. And you would still go forward, but maybe it just feels better to do that variation with the knee. Yeah, whichever piece we want to do. We're going to be doing 3 minutes on each side. Yeah. So very, very gentle. Find that first side. If you're following me, that's right leg forward. And again, you might grab that strap, or you might just have the hands on either side. Good. Yeah, breathing here. Remember that the tighter, shorter tissues are always what we feel first. So it's important for us to be noting, do we feel this more in the back? Is it all showing up in the back of the leg? And as we're breathing here, does the sensation change? Good. Just go slow. The face soft. Yin yoga is really stretching, right? And it has roots in that Kung Fu lineage. So it is a very intense and extreme practice in many ways. But we must also remember that yin in itself is incomplete, meaning that we need the yin and the yang. However, in the West, we tend to do more of the yang and just kind of be missing the yin. So we actually might need more yin. And we're going to get to know as we go through the different areas, maybe some certain spots are tighter, maybe a low back or shoulder, something is a little tighter. And even left and right, things could be a little different. So we're going to start to navigate. We're going to learn, where do we hold tension? Yeah, just keep breathing. Go really, really slow. Okay, that's very good. Now we're going to release. Go gently, and taking again anything at all that we want in between. We might want to take a moment to lay on the back. Again, you might do that kind of cat-cow movement. Our two sides could show us really, really different things, and maybe they're pretty much the same, but maybe they're like totally different worlds. And we might actually start to notice details and things about the left and right differences in any form of yoga. But the yin style is going to bring this to a different level because we're holding for so much longer. If we're right arm dominant, it's very common that the left hamstrings will be tighter. So let's note that. Okay, I want you to come to the second side, and we're going to do the same amount of time. But this side might feel a little bit longer. Okay, so very gentle. Yeah, whatever variation you're doing, find your second side. And we'll do the same 3 minutes here. Just find that very first stretch. Yin is all about what it feels like and not what it looks like. And so it allows this different process. And yin is a cognitive behavioral therapy. We use this for insomnia. We use this for anxiety and depression and PTSD. But a lot of how it works really well is that it's very bio-individual. It's based on the individual's skeleton, the individual's history and of bones and injury and mental health and everything. And we're really going at our own pace. I can't emphasize enough that there's no rush. We actually find that the slower we go, it's like the better it works. And so just go really slow,
And all along the way, we're learning about the body, getting to know habits and patterns. Yeah. On this side, you're scanning the body now with your awareness. And you're noticing, again, what do you feel all throughout the back? And what do you feel in the back of that leg? Okay. Very gentle. We're going to release. And yeah, take anything that we want in between. We might feel like clicking, popping, movement. The boredom and the space in between with yin is the real gold. Honestly, that's a big part of this practice, is that at times it's kind of boring. But what that does is it allows you this much needed time to process, so that then we don't get insomnia, so then we sleep, so then we dream. I talk a lot about sleep and dreams and how important they are in the body, but often we don't even know where to start to have that health in our sleep realm. And so when we start with yin, right, that's a really good place to begin. And a lot of it, just know that it has to do with the spaces in between, and it's good for us to just be able to daydream and to process. Good. So we looked at hamstrings. What I'm going to have us do now is I'm going to have us looking at the glute area. And so we're thinking about the kind of fleshy bum tissue, those larger glute area, and then also below that getting into those tinier muscles, things like piriformis, gemelli, the obturator. These are the different rotator muscles. And the big one that can cause us issues is that piriformis, because it might be next to our sciatic nerve. So if we have any kind of sciatica issues, this could be a helpful area to get to know. Now, this one has a lot to do with the bones, and we're going to also recognize here that maybe a couple of these shapes work, maybe only one of them works, and that could be important to find out, because we don't want to hurt our knee, we don't want to force ourselves into shapes that don't work for the body. So you're going to come to seated space. First, we're going to check in and get to know that skeletal variation. If you're seated, I'm going to have you take this left leg and you're bringing it underneath. So I've got my left knee in that same kind of line with that left ankle. And then I'm going to take my right leg, so I'm stacking my right ankle on top of that left knee. And for some of you, this right knee is going to drop right down. And if that works, if that doesn't stress the knee and you feel a nice stretch in the glute in the back, then you might kind of gently lean forward, and that could be your piece. If the knee is really high, this is where yin yoga doesn't tell you to keep trying this. This is where we say the bones are not going to do that, and that could hurt the knee. So it might be better to just cross the ankles and lean forward. But everybody is different. If that doesn't work, if the first stacked one doesn't work and the ankle cross doesn't work, maybe what's even better is more like the Gomukhasana style, like that tighter shoelace. So if you have like that tighter kind of stack with the knees, notice what you feel. You want to get some glute, low back. I don't want you to feel pinching in the hip, and you might even kind of lean it forward. So of those three, maybe one of those works. The other option
is going to be the one in the back. So I want us to pick between these to find the one that works today. You might be on the back with one leg on the ground and taking that other leg over. You might even take the hands behind that leg. Yeah, to get that kind of glute stretch here. So whichever piece you're going to choose, I'm going to demo with that one seated with the ankles crossed. And we're going to do a couple minutes on each side. Okay, so I've got my right ankle crossed on top of the left. Yeah, very, very gentle. Just find that first stretch. Yeah, go very, very slow. In this first section, where we're looking at certain pieces for the low back, and I'll have other sections for you also that will be beginner intro, but also for low back, because we have a whole bunch of pieces. Today we're just looking at a few, and I always want us to get to know what works best in the body. We might come to some pieces that stand out as really challenging or really helpful, right? We're going to navigate a lot of different things. And so, especially at first, we might be kind of looking for the pieces that are the most challenging, the ones that might kind of suck, right? The ones that we might avoid, because that could be where we hold the most tension. That might be the areas that we need to work the most. But our key is to go slow, and it's okay if we don't love yin, especially at first. A lot of us don't. I love to teach you yin because when I first came to yin, I was like, oh, I don't like yin. It's so hard. But now I really love this practice. So just go slow. Let it be your own. Keep breathing. Keep softening in. Notice if you feel it more in that low back area, mid back. Maybe if you drop the chin, you feel something different throughout the spine. And we're not only noticing what we feel like in the glute and the kind of bum tissue area, but details, because maybe you feel it more on one side compared to the other. Yeah. Let's keep breathing. Keep the face soft and just keep releasing. We're removing all of the things that the body and the mind and the soul no longer need. We're cleansing the system. Okay, now very, very gentle. You're going to release. Yeah, go slow. That was 4 minutes. Observe the effects. Remember, we might feel clicking, popping, movement as we go to the different sides. Yeah. Again, take whatever you want in between. You might want a moment for that cat-cow, down dog. And just listening to the body. I mentioned that the left hamstring can be tighter because the way that we are right hand dominant and how we stand on the left leg. And so I want you to note that what can also happen is the left glute can be tighter. So yeah, find that second side. If you're following me now, I'm just crossing my left ankle over. And those simple little things may have a huge difference left and right. And these are the things we're going to start to notice. If we see big details when, one leg's crossed over, or like at the end when we're twisting, that's the kind of stuff we're really going to get to know. Okay, second side. Find that very first stretch. There are many reasons that we hold for longer periods. One is that because after around 90 seconds, the muscles will begin to release, and then it takes time to move into the denser tissues that are surrounding the muscle and woven throughout the system. The fascia that we target and the connective tissues, these are different, right? The fascia looks like cobweb, and it doesn't get the same blood flow as your muscles. So these tissues, they take longer to open, they take longer to release, but you're starting to create space in the body because these tissues, which are dense, right, they need that sustained hold. Otherwise, we cannot get that deeper work. And so a lot of times we're only doing the yang and we're only working the muscle. But here is where we go slower, we hold longer, and we move into the fascia and the connective tissue. Just go very gentle. Keep breathing, and remember that there's no specific pranayama with yin, meaning that we're not trying to control the breath in any way. The breath just naturally is going to go into that low belly. And that breath moving into the low belly starts to calm the system. It stimulates what is called the vagal system. And so we're using our own body to produce that rest and digest mode. Just keep going. Keep breathing. Keep letting go. Okay, excellent. Now I want you to release and take that very, very slow. Yeah. And again, be sure to take anything at all that we want in between. We might feel clicking, popping, movement. we get to know a lot about where do we hold tension, and then also we have all these habits and these patterns that sometimes we're not aware of until we start doing yoga. But then we're thinking about the things like off the mat, how do we sit and how do we stand, and how do we use the arms differently? And a big one is how do we sleep? So we're gonna also be thinking even about the ways that we sleep. Now I want us to do this. I want us to next do caterpillar, which is putting together the piece that we started with and kind of broke apart. So we might feel more hamstring or something here, but now we're gonna put this one together. So you might use that strap. Well, I'm actually gonna have us note to a skeletal variation component here. With both your legs together, you don't need to try to force them up. In the yin style, you can let them fall open. Maybe they stay up, maybe they open a little or a lot. They could be very different left and right. That's one of the things you're gonna notice. Okay, yeah, maybe grab your strap. This is going to be a 5-minute hold. So I want you to just go very gentle. Some of you might be gently kind of pulling here, or you could have it be a little bit softer. You can totally round the back. Just find that very first stretch, yeah. Any props that we want. Caterpillar, 5 minutes. Keep your face soft. Scan the spine. Notice what you feel. Notice details. Notice what you feel in the back of the legs as well as the back. Maybe it's all in the legs or it's all in the back. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Just keep breathing. Remember that the body loves us, and we're learning all about our habits, our patterns. Just keep observing. Keep breathing. Our body is actually communicating with us all the time. But when we start doing yin and things become quiet, we start to hear more. Just keep going. Yeah, keep listening to the body.
Just keep breathing. Cleansing the blood, the lymphatic system. You're caring for your muscles, your fascia, connective tissue, ligaments, bones. We get deep within the body, but there is also so much that happens within the mind. Again, I know sometimes it's boring and at times it's really intense, but I promise it will be worth it. Good. Let's exhale, and we're going to take that very, very slow. Remember, if you feel like you're 9 million years old, you're doing it perfectly. This can be intense. Go slow. Yeah, make our way onto the back, very, very gentle. It is very common in the West that we hold a lot of tension in the low back because we don't have that rib cage in the low back to support, and then the core can get weak. So in Yin, we're doing the opening, we're removing adhesions and scar tissue in the low back. But when you do your Yang practices, I often would say add more core. So you're doing the strengthening on one side and that kind of lengthening and opening on the other. Okay, closing with our twist, you're going to have those knees in toward the heart. Do this. So place the right leg on the ground and keep that left knee in. And I want you to drop that left knee over toward the right. So you might even let the right hand gently come onto that leg. So the left hip might come off the ground. This left arm can reach over. I've got my left palm up, and I can look up or toward that left hand. Yeah. So take it slow. I'm going to give you a couple minutes on each side. A lot of times, these are the pieces that we need the most, that can be really helpful for the low back. So I want you to find that first side. Just take it really, really gentle. You might feel clicking, popping movement, and I want you to be scanning the body so we're really aware of the spine and we're aware of all the details. We might feel a ton of stretch like in the shoulder or the neck. I find that this is a totally different piece if I look up compared to if I look toward that extended arm. Maybe you feel it all in like the rib cage, kind of heart, mid back area. Maybe it's all the low back. And sometimes we feel an excellent glute kind of bum tissue stretch here. That's very important to note, because if we find a good glute stretch here, this might be a really good place to stretch glute. Might work better than double pigeon or tighter shoelace or something. Yeah. So just keep breathing. Keep observing. Keep the face soft. Just keep breathing and remember that in the moments where it's intense,
This is where we're often creating great change and removing adhesions and scar tissue. Just go slow, allow the body to heal itself. Just keep breathing, keep letting go. Okay, now very, very gentle, you'll release. Remember, it can be intense. Go super, super slow. Take a moment in between. And before we move to the second side, know that this is part of what we call the sleep testing section. You might take a moment here. You could have the knees together and the feet wide, or you could like windshield wiper the legs. So the sleep testing section, what this means is that we're even getting to know the shapes that we sleep in, which are hard to get to know because we're sleeping. But if when we're twisting, for example, we find that one side is a lot easier or more challenging, that's the kind of thing to know. Maybe when we sleep, we have the head turned to one side or the other. Maybe we're on the belly and the hip is turned or something. Maybe you always sleep on the same shoulder. So we're gonna start to know all these habits and patterns. Good. Okay, second side, which is the final active piece today, you're gonna come on to the back, so just really gentle. You've got knees in. This time it's the left leg going on the ground, and you're gonna keep that right knee in. Second side could show us something quite different. Approach it slow. This right leg is dropping over toward the left. I've got my left hand maybe gentle onto that right leg. And here my right hip is maybe lifting. You could take that right arm out. Yeah, so you could look to that hand or you might look up. Let it be your own. We'll do a couple minutes there. And just go slow. We're keeping the face soft. The practices are helping to remove stress and in so many ways, so that we are physically using, compression to massage the kidneys, and even above the kidneys, your adrenal glands, which produce stress hormones. So we're not just massaging physical body, but the practice is calming, and it moves the body from that sympathetic, which is all the fight, flight, and it moves it into the parasympathetic. And this is all the rest and the digest, all the chill side. We often need more of this. And so by doing this, you're not only creating an environment of calm here, but this is going to make it so that you process here, sleep better tonight, dream better, and that's where all the real emotional processing is happening. And one other thing I want us to note, so as we're in this final shape, I teach you in a way where I want you to live better lives. I really want you to be healthier in every way. So know this, that when we are dreaming, that is the only time in our lives when all of the muscles shut down. And so if we're not dreaming enough, then we could end up being physically sore a lot. So we're practicing yoga in a way where we want to get to know more about our sleep. We're looking for, 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And then we're looking also for that rich dream realm. And your dreams are mostly taking place in that last hour of your sleep. So if you shave off an hour, if you only sleep 7 and you don't do the 8 or 9, then you might lose all your dreams. And you're not just losing your creativity and that emotional processing, which is huge, but you're losing the only time that all of the muscles can actually rest and repair. So remember that we practice here for so many reasons. There's so many great things happening. Yin sets off this domino of health. Good, just keep breathing. Let the body heal the body. Keep the face soft. We're noticing the details between the two sides. Maybe they're pretty much the same, but maybe they're really, really different. Very good. Exhale. I want you to gently release. Take it super, super slow. And just take a moment to feel and be proud of yourselves. I know that yin can be so challenging, but I promise it will be worth it. Now just very gentle. You might squeeze the knees in. Yeah, you might even take happy baby. So that would be peace fingers to the big toe, or maybe more hands outside of the feet, and we can rock and massage. So be sure to take anything else that we want. When you're ready, you'll come to Shavasana. You can have the feet about as wide as the mat, maybe palms about 6 inches, a foot away from the body, palms facing up. Yeah, find that comfortable Shavasana and get very warm and just take a few minutes there. Shavasana really is the most important pose in our practice, which might seem sort of funny, especially if we're new to yoga. But know this, that it is the most important space, and when you come to Shavasana, what I want you to do, you might keep your eyes open or closed, but you start to make the body as soft, as heavy as possible. And your goal is to hover between wake and sleep. We're looking for this sweet space where it's like we're not quite awake anymore and we're not quite asleep, but we're kind of hovering in between. Try to soften the face, the jaw. Soften the fingers and the toes. Notice how the breath creates movement in the body. And I want you to gently observe if you feel, certain areas touching the earth. Do you feel the low back touching the earth? We might feel that kind of curved space in the low back, but then we can feel the kind of rib cage touching the earth. And the head, but we probably feel that curve also within the neck. So just observe with your awareness, notice what parts of the body connect with the earth. And now just completely letting go. It's okay if we fall asleep, but in time we will train ourselves to gently hover in that space in between. Very, very gentle. Beginning to ground back into ourselves slowly. You can move the toes and the fingers. Move the head and the neck, but just really, really gentle, micro movements. Yeah, awaken the body. And you might keep the eyes closed and very gentle. Roll to one side. And just very consciously, we're leaving behind anything that the body, the mind, the soul no longer need. And we're going to gently press ourselves back up, very, very slow. Now, as we come to seated space, I want you to notice how you feel, and I want you to be proud of yourselves. I want you to remember that it is your effort that creates this change. I know yin can be challenging, but it will be worth it. Just keep going. Now we come to seated and we bring the hands again to the heart. We remember our intentions. We remember our dedications. We remember all the reasons that we practice yoga. And we remember that all the things that we do, all the things that we say, all the energetic arrows that we shoot, they matter. They have tremendous impact inside of us and all around us. May the practices of yoga and meditation make us better in every way. It is a great honor. It is a great privilege to teach, practice, and be together. I say to all of you, and you say to me, Namaste. And thank you all so much for joining me here today. Be sure to drink lots and lots of water, sleep well. Tell me if you have any questions, and again, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, check out my website, and be sure to connect with me for regular classes and information about sleep and neurobiology of yoga. Thank you all so much.